Greetings, friends and future friends. Today's video is on the Korg Nautilus. Now, a few weeks ago, I got a question in the comments. Hey, John, can you show us how to use Aftertouch? Well, I can't really do that because my keyboard does not have Aftertouch. Only the 61 key and 88 key Korg Nautilus 8Ts have Aftertouch. Now, Korg has a system on board called AMS, Alternate Modulation Source. Now, what it does is allow you to change the sound through an alternate source, which would be a joystick, a button, a slider, or anything else you create. And I'm going to drop a link below of a video I did a while ago called Switches and Sliders. And that'll show you this icon down below called Tone Adjust, where you can actually create buttons and sliders and anything else that would actually use the AMS system, and you could alter the sound. Now, what I really want to show you today is a couple of workarounds I created to give you that same aftertouch effect. There's a couple things I've done and how you can use combinations and create that aftertouch sound. So, let's get in the studio and see how those things work.
As you can see, I'm using a Korg EXP2 expression pedal. I can use this for volume or expression of any other effect. And it plugs right into the back of the Nautilus in the pedal jack. We now have the Korg Nautilus started up. We're going to hit Global. We'll go to this screen, then we're going to hit the Page button. Go over here to Controllers and Scales. And right here you can see that I have that EXP2 plugged into the foot pedal assign, and it's working on a volume setting right there. And if we play the keyboard, and I pull back on the volume control or the pedal, now I'm playing the keyboard, and there's no sound. Because what it's going to do is in this setting, it's going to override and create a master volume control for that keyboard. This is basically the start of the AMS system, because now I'm using an external pedal to control something. Now, another example of the AMS system is if I'm playing a little scale here, and I push down on switch 1, you can now hear a delay is being engaged. If I turn the switch off, no delay. Now, that is another example of how the AMS system works. And if we go over here to Page, we go to IFX, and we go and we bring up, okay, what do we have? Let's go to routing. So we have that keyboard going into all these routing system here. We're having the keyboard go EX1 and EX2. We're going to IFX1, and we have that, and we go to Insert Effects. You can see the effects chain through 1, then comes back, goes to 2, goes to 3, and then goes out to left and right. So if we go to Effects, and we go to Effects 2, you can see that this is the delay right here. And right down here, Source, Switch 2. Up here, Source, Switch 1. Now we tap on that. You can see all these different things we can use to control that source. Now we have Switch 1 set up here, so when we're playing it, no delay. But when I turn Switch 1 on, now you have the delay. So that's another example of the AMS system at work. Now, one thing I want to do is go back to here, and I want to show you. I've done a video, and I'm going to drop a link to this, but right here, down here, called Tone Adjust. This is extremely helpful. What Tone Adjust does is you can see up here it says switches, here's sliders. If we tap on sliders 1, we can create sliders, and 9. So you have actually 17 sliders you can create and 16 buttons or switches. And right now it's disengaged, but if I go over here and tap on the edit, now I can go over here and I can go, okay, switch 3, I can make that do all these different things. And there is a lot of things that it can do. And exit out of this. And then as you turn on, we'll just go like resonance. We'll turn so now I can adjust the amount of resonance and then turning it on and off. So if I go back out of this, now this turns to a on and off switch. So if I turned it on and turned it off, this is a really helpful little tool. Now I'm gonna go back to edit, go back here and make this 0 again, keep it the way it had it before. But this is a very helpful area, and it's basically working off the AMS system. It's using a button or a switch or anything to control that sound or control an extra sound or do something. Again, my Korg Nautilus does not have Aftertouch, so I can't show you Aftertouch, but I can show you how you can create buttons and switches to make a sound come in or out. Okay, I have this combination that I created here for this tutorial. Now, what we're going to do is go over here and we're going to mute these other channels, but we're just going to work with these 3 channels up here. And I have the volume all set. Now, what this is I have a piano track here, and then I have a bass track, and then this third line is actually a keyboard track, a strings, that's overlaying the piano. And if we go into zones, go in here to keyboard zones, you're going to see that here is the keyboard track and here's the string track. So they're almost replicated. From C4 up, the strings go, and C4 up, the strings go from C4 to G9, and same here. So the keyboards and the strings are identical. They're layered in the same place. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try and simulate an After Effects event. So we're going back to combinations. We're going to go in here, and then what we're going to do is go to page, and we're going to go into MIDI filter and zones. Now we're going to MIDI filter 1. Now what I've done is I let the damper pedal work on the piano, but it's not going to work on anything else. I've enabled the damper on only the piano. We're going to go to MIDI filter 2. I got some other things disengaged, but MIDI 3 is very important also. So now, enable foot pedal, right here, it says that. I've disengaged the piano and the bass guitar so that the expression pedal that I'm using will not affect those 2 sounds. So, knowing that, we'll go back to our combination, knowing that I can now work this expression pedal to turn these keyboards on and off. So I have the expression pedal all the way to the floor, pushed forward, and you can hear those keyboards. Now if I take that expression pedal and move it back all the way, now you're not going to hear those keyboards. So now you can use this expression pedal as an aftertouch effect. So I'm going to play E, G, B. And on the B, when I hit that B note, I'm going to hit down on the expression pedal. So now I'm creating an aftertouch effect, but not having aftertouch. Again, I play E, G, B. When I hit that B, I'm going to push down on the expression pedal. So what I'm going to do now to show you how you can work this to create an aftertouch effect, I'm going to play a little scale of E minor, and when I hit that B, I'm going to push down the expression pedal. So there is another way to create an aftertouch effect by using an expression pedal. So again, what we've done is we've created a simulated aftertouch effect. Again, how did we do that? We hit page, go to zones, And what we've done, we go to the keyboard zones right down here, and we assigned the piano and the strings in the same zone so that they're playing the same thing. Then we went over and hit MIDI controller 3, MIDI filter 3, and then because the enabled foot pedal is a volume control, we disabled it from the piano and the bass. So now when I play, go back to the combination. So now when I'm playing the keyboard, I have the piano and the bass. But if I push down on the expression pedal, this third channel, which has the strings, will come alive. And that's one of the ways you can create an aftertouch effect with using an expression pedal and using the combinations. So what I've done is I've muted out the first 3 channels and still kept the 6 and 7 muted. Now, we have these 2 channels here we're going to play. Now, if you look at them, they're identical. The nylon STR1, nylon STR1, these are guitar sounds. And basically, they're the same thing, each sound. Now, if we go over here and hit our page and we go to IFX, the only difference is that channel 5 or channel 4 is going out to left and right, and channel 5 is going out to effects 6. So basically, these 2 channels will play. One will be clean with no effects, and the next channel, channel 5, will have effects. Now, I'm only doing this for an example. You might not set things up this way to get a great sound, but I wanted to set it up this way so you can see where I'm headed. So now we're going to hit the page button again. We're going to go to MIDI filters and zones. We're going to go to velocity zones. Now, what this velocity zone does, bottom velocity, top velocity. So what we're going to do is we're going to take channel 4 and we're going to make that its velocity, top velocity is 110, which means after 110 velocity, that tone will not play. So from 0 to 110 velocity on that keyboard, we're going to have this sound play. And then on this side, from 110 to 127, that velocity is going to play this sound. So again, let me back up. You go to velocity zones. Now what we're doing is we're creating, these 2 sounds are the identical sound, only this sound on channel 5 has effects and the sound on channel 4 does not have effects. But we have a velocity range of 0 to 110 for 4 and velocity 110 to 127. So what does that mean? When I play the keyboard real lightly, I'm playing actually channel 4. Now if I strike the key with a little bit of motion, now you hear, and if we go back and we go to IFX, now we know IFX 6. Let's take a look at that. So now IFX 6 is coming in. We'll go to Insert Effects. So IFX 6 is coming in, and it's playing a stereo multi-tap delay. Then it's going into a stereo tremolo. So what is taking place here? Let's go back to our zones. What is taking place is when we go to velocity zones, when we lightly touch the keyboard, we're playing the clean sound. When we hit the keyboard with a little bit of velocity from 110 to 127, you are now hearing this sound. So real light. But if we hit the key, and we could actually bring this down. Say we bring velocity down to 90. This right down here, we'll bring that to 90. And we'll bring this up back down to 90 also. Now it's going to trigger a little earlier. You can actually hear that tremolo. So when I'm playing the notes, but I hit that E with a little bit of velocity. So, what did we do? We actually created an aftertouch effect by using the velocity zones. We created, let's go back to that again, we created two sounds that were identical. And you don't even have to do that. You might want to create a string sound or any other sound you put in here. You might want to do something. And then that way, you can have the aftertouch effect without having aftertouch. Because we have two sounds, one's different from the other. Then we go to page, go to zones, go to velocity zones, and then change the velocity. And again, what this really means, all this means, is that from 0 to 90 velocity, this note is going to be played, or this sound. And from 90 to 127, this sound is going to be played. And it's a really cool little way to create aftertouch with not having aftertouch in your keyboard. Because again, I play that E real light. When I play it hard, all right, my last example, I got the organ sounds on 6 and 7. And basically the way they're set up, again, like we set up the guitar, we go to zones, we go to velocity zones. You can see the first organ is actually going from 0 to 90, and the second sound of the organ is going from 90 to 127. And we go over here and go to IFX. You can see it's going. You can see how the one organ sound is going to the effects right here in 7, and the other one's going left and right. Now I want to show you some. So if we play that, let's just play that. I play an E, and if I push down hard on that E, the velocity changes, and what we've done is actually playing lightly. We're playing the sound with no effect, and then we're playing the sound with an effect. But I want to take this a step further. So we go to page, and we go to timbre parameter. Now, there's things you can do to change that sound. And now we're looking at the sound on channel 7, and we know that this is the sound that's going to be played when we push hard down on the keyboards. We're going to change the pitch. So let's just bring this up to 7. So if I'm playing this E, so now what I'm doing is playing the E softly. It's an E. But if I hit it hard, it's going to play this sound, which is actually +7. So that's actually the 5th there. So what this means when you do this, let's back up again and review this. So these velocity zones can be used to create that aftertouch effect. So let's back up and recap again. Organ 6 is playing velocities 1 through 90. Organ 7 in channel 7 is playing 90 to 27. And then what did we do? We went over here to effects, And then we made sure, or we set up that organ sound on channel 7 is going to effects IFX 8, and the channel 6 organ is going nowhere. It's going left and right. And we have no effect on that. Then we took it a step further and we went to timbre parameters, and now we can actually change things in here. We can change the way things happen. Another thing we can do is we can come to delay, and we can go to organ 7, and we're going to go time, and we'll go a couple milliseconds. So now we have 150 milliseconds delay. You can see that now there's a slight delay on that. Let's back it. That's way too much delay. It's almost like another note. Go to 50. So now you can see that there's a delay on that. And that is really cool. And actually, when you're using this delay, you can actually set it up on the sound too. Because you can actually go up here and go tempo and say how many beats, eighth note, quarter note, whatever you want. Again, I want to review this so you get this, understand exactly what we're doing. You can create two identical sounds. Then what you can do is change those two sounds to make one sound different from the original sound. Then you go over here and you go into zones. Then you go into velocity zone. And then with there, you change the velocity. Now, again, this velocity down here is what it's going to start at, and that's what it's going to end at. So anything over 90, that sound goes away. Over here, this sound doesn't start till you hear a velocity of 90, and then it engages. So basically, you're disengaging this from 0 or 1 to 90 and disengaging it past 90 and engaging this next sound. And this is a way you can have Aftertouch in your keyboard without having the actual Aftertouch option in your keyboard. So you guys know me. I like to give you a full view of the screen when I'm giving you these tutorials, because the menus can be so complex and I want you to see what's going on. But in this tutorial, I had to give you a keyboard shot because I want you to see how we're doing this and what it sounds like and how you can use it. So the first setup, we have three sounds. We have a bass sound, we have a keyboard sound, and we have that layered string sound on the upper register keyboard. But it's being controlled by the pedal. So I have the expression pedal fully on, and we have both sounds. Now if I take the expression pedal off, we only have the one sound. So now you can use it as Aftertouch. So certain notes I'll push down on the pedal. And that's using the expression pedal. Now we'll mute these guys out. Now we're going to that second part where we have the two sounds, and what they're doing is we're changing the velocity of the strike. So if I play this note, so now you can see that playing it lightly, you're only playing the one sound. But when you really apply the velocity, the second sound comes in. You can almost hear the tremolo in that guitar. So if you fine-tune this sound, you could actually make it work to when you hit that sound hard, you'd have the tremolo of the guitar. Again, this is not using Aftertouch. This is using something, creating two sounds and making the velocity mapping change the sounds or bring in the sound. Again, this is not Aftertouch. I don't have Aftertouch on this keyboard, but it's using velocity to change and play different sounds. Now I want to go to that organ sound. Again, playing it softly. Again, we're not using Aftertouch. What we're doing is using the velocity change as you saw previously in this video. But I wanted you to see this because this is really a neat effect that you can use in your playing.
So I hope this video showed you how you can create that Aftertouch effect in the Korg Nautilus, even though it doesn't have Aftertouch. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. You'll help us grow the channel. That way we can bring you more cool stuff. So take care, my friends, and thanks for watching.